Hey everyone, Michelle Seidling here with another episode of Food Experience Unplugged. Today we'll explore the relationship between self-kindness and mental health. Here to help us do that is Ruth Hultquist, the owner and creator of Roo Betty, a brand focusing on talking kindly to yourself and motivating your mental health. This podcast is available on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed as new episodes become available. Also, be sure to rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform to let us know what you think of the podcast and how you like it, what stood out to you the most, and what are you doing because of it. Be sure to check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some resources as you begin your health journey. Ruth Hultquist, welcome to Food Experience Unplugged.
Hi, Michelle. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, we are so happy to have you, Ruth, as the creator of Roo Betty brand of products and perhaps services and today we're talking about self-kindness and how that correlates with mental health and things that you can do to improve self-kindness. So we're sure happy to have you on the show today to talk more about that.
Thanks for having me.
But to get started, will you introduce yourself and tell us why Roo Betty and what brought you to this point in your life and in your career?
I have been a yoga teacher for a very long time, about 10 years, 10 plus years, something like that. And about 6 years ago, I had a little bit of a breakdown. My mental health, I'd always thought had been fine, and I had been managing it with medication, and the medication just wasn't really working for me. And I had a bit of a breakdown, and everything was going completely wrong, life, marriage, the whole works. And it was a case of, right, I need to do something about this. So I did a lot of therapy on myself. I did a lot of therapy with my husband. And we came to a point where I was off medication and I was fine. But it all came to a head of really, well, where was it all coming from? And I kind of realized that I wasn't talking kindly to myself and I wasn't loving me. And I used a cartoon as part of my therapy with a mindfulness coach. I used my drawing to kind of talk to me and say the things that I couldn't say to myself. And it came to the point where I wasn't talking kindly to me. I was being unkind. There was no love in my words. So that's where Roo Betty was born. And Roo Betty is kind of the inside of me. She's the person, you know how you have the devil angel thing? She's kind of the nicer side. She's the one who's going to go, there, you're doing all right. She says the nice thing. She's a little sarcastic, but then so am I. But Roo Betty is my name. I'm Ruth Elizabeth, so that's what the Roo Betty stands for. And basically, I wanted to start a brand, and I spoke to my husband about it. I said, right, I want to do this. And he's like, really? And I said, yes, I just want to have a go. So a couple of years ago, we started the brand. And it's only really since lockdown that I have really gone for it, because I had to put my yoga teaching on hold, classes on hold. And so I spent most of the summer and autumn speaking to suppliers, getting stuff done, and really kind of worked hard to get it up and running. We've still got a long way to go. I mean, there's so many ideas. It's just unreal. Yeah, that's where we're at the moment. We've got some products up on the website, and basically we want Roo Betty to say, how can you manage your mental health? These are the things, the products and the ideas that will get you, that we have tried and work. So for instance, the yoga, going to the gym, we know that works. I know that works. Keeping a healthy body, healthy mind works. Meditation works. That's a future thing. We've got a few ideas of where that's going. And the yoga itself, we'll have some videos next year. That's that idea. And then some of the products with the t-shirts, the contrast your mood t-shirts, we know that wearing bright colors can lift your spirits, make you feel different. There's color therapy involved in that as well. And just the logo in itself, the speech bubble and heart, it's there to remind you talk kindly to you, love you, be your best friend. And yeah, that's where that comes from.
Wow, that is amazing. I love just a simple drawing that you were trying to help with your own mental health, bring your own calmness and kindness to yourself has really just taken off with your brand and with wanting to help people to find that peace and to find that
Yeah.
self-kindness. I love that.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. I've been to some pretty dark places. But you know, there's therapy out there, and there's therapy you can do yourself every day, even if you don't pay for someone to help you. And that was really what I want my brand to show, that you know, you don't have to pay for massive therapist bills. It's there if you need to. And obviously medication is there if you need to, but there are other ways to support yourself that you can do for free.
Sure. So do you feel that Roo Betty and your emphasis on self-kindness, has it helped your own mental health a lot?
Yes, I mean, I'm not perfection here. I'm not cured. There isn't. I don't. I mean, I've talked about this to therapist friends and other therapists, and I say I'm not cured, and they say, "But were you broken?" And so, you know, no, I wasn't broken. I see it as a journey, a kind of, that's where I was on, and along that way, I got a bit caught up in this world, and I put a load of pressures on myself and a little bit of expectations that basically I couldn't meet. And I don't think anybody could have met them. I was really wanting to be this almost Stepford wife-esque, you know, kind of robotic in my abilities. Clean house, food on the table, perfect face, good body, you know, ate well, had a lovely, perfect house, the whole works. And I've only met a few people who can do that. Literally only a few.
Sure. Oh, but self-kindness is obviously a huge start and a huge beginning to
Oh
that
yeah,
whole process.
totally. It's
Now,
what keeps me going, because there are days when I'm not doing that. So that's the message I give myself. Kind of
sure.
take a step backwards. You're doing all right. It's a
Yes.
hard one.
Now,
It's very
what
hard.
exactly do we mean by self-kindness? A lot of times people, they've got, you have self-care, you've got
Yeah.
self-kindness, you've got a whole bunch, but what specifically do you mean in this context?
So I think of self-kindness as partly allowing yourself to be. You are who you are, and you like the things you like, and you don't like the things you don't like. And it's understanding yourself and loving yourself for everything that you are, just as you are.
Mm,
Being kind about how you're trying to do things, and that's the word, trying. And the more you try, the harder things become. And I think you have to be kind to yourself by saying, look how far I've got, look what I have done, look what I have achieved, and that's fine where I'm at, and that's fine who I am. I don't have to be her, I don't have to be him, I don't have to be different, or I don't have to be the same. More to the point, I don't have to be the same. I can be what I am, and that's fine, and I can sit as I am and be okay with that. And that was part of the therapy, was to understand who I was, because I kind of got confused. I was trying to be all these other people, you know, the perfect housewife, the gym fanatic, the I don't know what else, the chef, all the other things I was trying to be. And when I kind of went, yeah, but I don't really like cooking those sort of foods, and I don't want to go to the gym 5 days a week. I only want to go a couple of times, and maybe I only want to do it half an hour a day. And I want to do meditation, but I don't want to sit up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's not who I am. I can't get up at 4. And I started giving myself it's okay to do it your way. Especially my morning routine, that always used to bug me. People saying, get up, you know, do your meditation, do your yoga. And it was me as a yoga teacher going, I can't get up at 5 o'clock. And that seems, I don't want to get up at 4 o'clock. More to the point, I actually enjoy that time in bed. So the moment I let myself off and I went, right, your morning routine is you get up about 7, maybe 6:30, might be 6. Depends what time you wake up and your eyes open. Go downstairs, make up a tea, and then go back to bed for half an hour. I literally just sit there and I scroll through my phone. I might read a bit of the news, look a bit at my Facebook, play Candy Crush. That's my bit of a nemesis thing, Candy Crush. But I do that, and then I'm ready to start my day because I've done the bit that I want to do that works for me.
Okay.
And that's the most important thing. That's kindness, saying what's working for me and what do I need to do.
Okay. Wow. So basically, you're kind of stepping back from expectations that maybe others have, or some kind of trying to live up to some other image, and really creating your own routine and your own morning ritual.
Yeah. It's being brave enough to say, what are the things I like and what are the things I don't like? And why am I liking those things? And we've all got to do some things that we don't particularly like doing. There are always going to be those little bits on our list that we do have to do that we don't like doing. But it's making it work better for you. But then the more you take into reason what you do like doing and making everything work what you do like, those things that you don't like doing, they won't feel such a hard task to do. And you will have a lot more self-belief, and you'll have a lot more self-love because of that. Because you're not constantly battering down a door, you're not constantly doing all the things you hate, and therefore it's not ever feeling like the task that it is all the time, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does. Now, what role do you feel that self-kindness plays in mental health?
I feel when I was at my worst, bear in mind I was diagnosed bipolar about 8 years ago, and I was on lots of different medications, and they work for a little bit and then they don't work, and then you go on higher doses and they work for a bit and then they don't work, and I was trying to find this fix and this magic tablet that was suddenly going to make me feel better all the time. It was the more so the understanding about emotions, and that what came out of the 8-week mindfulness course that I attended was that being emotional not a bad thing. Having emotions is not awful. You can be angry, you can be sad, you can cry. Okay, crying all the time might be a bit of a signal that you have got a problem. But you can have a day where you feel a bit meh and you don't want to do anything, and that's okay. And the more times I tap into that, the more times I take, like you say, take a step back and go, okay, how do you feel? What do you want to do now? What do you think the next move should be? And I ask myself, rather than what I think everyone else thinks I should be doing.
Sure.
I feel better.
Okay. So you're able to kind of really evaluate how you're doing a little bit more through that self-kindness.
Yeah, through that, looking at yourself objectively, really like turning the spotlight on yourself, but being kind from a friendship point of view, like your own best friend. Almost saying, well, if I came to myself with my problems and that was a different person, what would I say to them? You wouldn't be saying those words that you say to yourself. You wouldn't tell yourself that you're being useless or pathetic or rubbish. You would say, you're doing okay. Just have a little day off today. Maybe sit down on the sofa, pour yourself a nice cup of tea, wrap a blanket around yourself, watch trash TV, and that's okay. Have one of those days because you need one of those days. And then tomorrow you'll feel better, and then you'll pick yourself up and you'll do all the things you need to do or would like to do. And it's the baby step thing, that's been around for years, the baby step advice. And I think that goes for it. We can't all run a marathon tomorrow because God didn't at a time.
No, definitely not. So, well, do you have any, in addition to your own story, of course, do you have any success stories about maybe people you've worked with or associated with who have improved their mental health through that self-kindness and really turned things around for themselves?
Yeah, I have had a few. I don't normally do one-to-ones, as I teach like group yoga, but I have had a few people come to me, and just over the lockdown, or just before lockdown, I should say, I have no idea where I am with time or anything at the moment. It just all blurs into one. I can't remember if I saw her. I think it was just at the first lockdown eased, and she was having some issues with her daughter, and I met her for a coffee, and I said, and this lady I've never met before, she literally emailed me and said, I need to have a chat. And I said, fine, we'll have a chat. And she was saying about her daughter, and she was worried about her, and she's been diagnosed autistic. What does she do, and how does she manage it? And I said, well, I'm kind of, if you put down all of my symptoms, I kind of fall into that spectrum. But I think, a lot of people do. I don't know. I said to her, if she put down all her things, would she fall on the spectrum? And therefore, did we need to label it? Because if we label it, does it make it a bit scary for you? How old is your daughter? She was 15. And I said, maybe you should talk to your daughter and say, what would she like to do? How would she like to manage her autism? Bearing in mind the constraints that we have to go to school at the moment, or maybe you want her to go to school because it works better for you. She has to understand some of what you need her to do, but if you listen to her for a bit, that will help. But equally, I told her to look at herself first and to do the kind things for herself. What's she missing in her life? Does she need to go out for a cup of coffee with a friend more often? Does she need to just be in a quiet room for half an hour before she starts her day? There were small things she could place in her life that were not hard to do and were inexpensive or free. You don't need to go and pay someone. What can you do that's going to help you out? List 3 things that are going to change how you feel about something, and do those things first. So if it's getting a cleaner, okay, that's not free, but maybe asking other people to take on chores for you, help with loading the dishwasher, perhaps doing a bit of the laundry for yourself, maybe saying once a week, husband, can you cook the dinner? It's the small changes that you make so that your life doesn't become so overwhelming. And I felt when she was talking to me that she was very overwhelmed because of her daughter's diagnosis, because of the challenges her daughter was having. And I said, go backwards, look at yourself, do what you can for you. And she messaged me about a week or so ago, and she said everything was feeling a bit better and a bit more under control, shall we say, even though we don't ultimately have control. That would be hard. And she was feeling better. And other clients I've had in the past, I found mostly that they were not meditating, and that every time they were feeling rushed or stressed out, it was because they weren't taking that 5 or 10 minutes just to calm themselves down, look at life objectively, less trying to control it and allowing it to just be. And the more we do that, the more we're able to feel freer in ourselves. That's how it feels anyway, from an inside point of view. It feels freer the less you try to control it.
Okay. Well, and I love that example because not only was the daughter, her condition addressed, that she herself, the woman who came to you first, that she was able to use that self-kindness as well to kind of resolve that whole dilemma of how to help her daughter.
Yeah, I think we're very much, or as I say, if I've put myself down and looked at all the autistic review, and I could place myself into that label, but I didn't realize when I got really into the 8-week mindfulness course and really had a look at myself, I'd already put so many things already in place to keep myself calm. But I was forgetting all of those things because I was trying to be what everyone else was saying you should do. And it was always the time when you sit with yourself and really listen to what you want to do and then write that down. That really helped. It helped me. And I said that to this lady, just write down what it is you're trying to achieve. What do you want? And why do you want it like that? Because it doesn't need to be that particular way. And the more we listen to how we need to do things. So for instance, she was saying that her daughter just kept coming in and she would want to go up to her room. And I just said, and that's a bad thing. Why is that a bad thing? And she was like, oh, and I said, she just needs time to decompress before she goes on to the next task. We all need days like that. Where just like, keep away from me, don't talk. And then we have to verbalize that. So nobody's a mind reader here. if you don't say to your family members, when I come in from work or when I come back from school or whatever it is, I just need 10 minutes when nobody talks to me so that I can get in and take my coat off and make myself a cup of tea. And then when I'm sat on that sofa, that's when you can start talking to me. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to tell people that's what I need. Just that 10 minutes before you start talking. Because sometimes you feel like everyone's coming at you and then you feel overwhelmed. And then that comes out as anger or upset or stress. And then later on, you kind of dwell on it about how awful you've been. And you haven't been awful. You just haven't managed you. So once you manage you, everybody else is managed. And once they manage themselves, everybody else is managed. So it's just teaching people to manage themselves in their own circle before you kind of go out and help other people. Does that make sense? The whole putting your life jacket on before you need to save yourself.
Yes, it sounds like it's almost like a group effort too. Self-kindness is a group effort.
It is within a family unit. I think you all have to address what it is that you're trying to achieve individually, what you're trying to achieve as a family. And sometimes it's just because you're not all on the same page. You all want the same thing. I mean, everybody wants the same thing. You want to all have a happy family life and you want to all do lovely things together. But sometimes you try to do it too much and the other person's saying, well, I'm okay with doing stuff together, but maybe every other week or, every other day. I don't want to do it every day. And so unless you're all on the same page, saying the same thing, you're not going to achieve this feeling. And that only comes with communication. If you're not communicating, and again, it's the kindness that you're saying to yourself, don't try to verbally attack the other person for wanting different things and wanting different ideas. Talking kindly means starting with yourself, and then you can talk kindly to the next person. And then hopefully they will talk kindly back to you. And then you get this kindness that kind of ripples out. Otherwise, you're just kind of against a brick wall. So remember kindly, how would you like to be spoke to? Kindly. How would they like to be said? And it's not always perfect, but it's having that time when you come back, you reflect and you say, okay, maybe I didn't handle that too well and I shouted a bit. And then you can go back to the person and say, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have shouted. I wasn't making myself clear. I don't think you were understanding what I was trying to say. And as I said, I'm not perfect. Our family life doesn't not have any arguments. Believe me, there are arguments still. There are still, shall we just say, loud expressions of self that come out, if you want to call it that. But they're still arguments. But it's how you manage that on from there and say, oh, it's because I'm not being heard. And is that because I'm just shouting? Maybe if I take a step back, start again, say, this is what I'm wanting. But you've got to be prepared for the other person to say what they want to. So it's a two-way street here. You can't just all say I. You have to think of what does the other person want.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, for people just starting out with self-kindness and just kind of meeting that point, what are some steps that people can take to really, if they want to improve their mental health or improve that situation, what are some steps that people can take to really get started?
I think the first step is taking at least, I'd say 5 minutes. I mean, in an ideal world, you take 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, but start with, 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and just take that time to sit quietly. And that's all meditation is. Meditation is sitting quietly, having time to allow everything to happen around you and to see what that brings up. If it's bringing up emotions that are really strong and you're trying to kick back from them, listen to those and write that emotion down that you're feeling. And then you have time to explore that. Why am I feeling like that? Why am I feeling angry about that today? Why am I feeling sad about that today? There'll be a reason behind it. And that's what I found first. Step one was just giving myself 5 minutes. If emotions came up, asking myself, why are you having that emotion? And that was my next step. Ask the question, why am I having that? And be prepared for the real answer. Be prepared that the real answer might not be what you want to hear. Might not be what you want to hear. And once you're prepared to hear your own truth, what you really, really want and what you really, really don't want, you're able to then work on that. And that's where your daily meditations of daily 5 minutes of just sitting down with that cup of tea, just allowing yourself to say, okay, how do I feel today? And the more you do that, the less likely you are to get complete outbursts of emotion that then spirals out of control and either comes down into depression. So then your mental health deteriorates, or maybe it becomes reactive and your mental health deteriorates because you're reacting to your mental health. Therefore, you're you're drinking excessively, you're spending excessively, you're reacting excessively, and that will then make your mental health bad. And that's my experience of it anyway. I know there are lots of mental health conditions out there, and this isn't a one size fits all, because there isn't. Everybody has to find what works for them, and what I've done might work for you. And that's the thing with it. I've tried so many therapies, but they all came down to meditation. They all came down to having 5 minutes, sit with yourself, listen to yourself, understand what you want and what you don't want, and be prepared to listen to the real hard facts, because they come up eventually. You can skim through all the surface stuff, and but the real hard stuff that might have got you where you are today, and it's going to come out eventually. That might need some therapy. You might need like a real professional to help you with those ones. There are certain traumas that happen that do require kind of real expertise, and I wouldn't be afraid to face them, because once you face them, you will realize how strong a person you are. And that day is like kind of the moment when you oh my God, I'm just freaking amazing. But you don't get that for so long, and then all of a sudden when you realize these little events that happened made me the person I am today, and I'm doing all right, well done me, pat on the back kind of thing. But it took me years to get to there. I mean, years. So some people do it in a couple of weeks, some people take forever, but it's the work we do.
Okay.
The work we do.
Absolutely. Wow, I love that. Just kind of those small but powerful steps of self-kindness to really reflect on, who you are, what you want. That's really amazing. And you yourself have come a long way, and that the people that you serve are coming a long way as well.
I think a lot of people expect kind of magic wand. They kind of expect like instant change or a complete magic wand approach, that you'll wave this magic wand and all of a sudden I'm going to be fixed and cured. The first thing is to remember that you're not broken in the first place. And the second thing to remember is it takes as long as it takes, and give yourself the time you need. We're not expecting you to be some kind of, guru who's suddenly all peaceful and serene. This is real life. As long as you're feeling more serene than you are stressed, then everything's okay. It's when it's flipped and you're feeling more stressed than serene that you've got to kind of take some action. And that's the part of the 5 minutes a day thing. Just let yourself see how you're doing.
Okay. Now, how do you feel that Roo Betty, that your whole brand, your purpose with that? How do you feel that is, I don't know, infusing self-kindness, or helping people to use that self-kindness to help their mental health and to help those around them?
So obviously, I mean, we're just starting out, and I have so many plans. But the idea is to allow yourself to know that emotions are okay. For one, having a crappy day and screaming your head off, it's all right if you needed to do that, and then you've kind of sorted it out. And it's okay if you are having, I don't know, a couple of glasses of wine and some pizza, and that's dinner today. So what? I'm doing what I wanted to do, and the more I do what I want to do, the less I'm likely to abuse that and it become a problem. So, it works for diets and things like that. If you constantly try to diet, I don't know about you, but I end up eating cake by the end of the week. Whereas if I just ate the piece of cake in the first place, feel better about that and less likely to repeat offend. So the idea is in the future is we'll have some fitness videos up on there so that people can tap in and do some fitness. In the future, we're looking at doing a podcast with some guests on and hopefully some people who can talk about their experiences with mental health. As I say, no one size fits all. And that's what we have to remember is there isn't one answer. You can try it, and if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Next, try something different. Because you can't expect everybody to be the same. We're not all the same, and it's okay to be different.
Okay.
The speech, the logo in itself is a reminder. As I say, it's that logo says to everybody, talk kindly. Just be kind. It's not hard. Everybody has their own little rubbish day and their own little thing behind them. If someone's shouting at you, don't shout back. Just be kind. Just say, okay, you don't know what happened 5 minutes before they shouted at you. And the more we do that, the less likely we are to shout because we're having a little bit more compassion and self-love and self-care.
Sure, absolutely. Now, as we wrap up, what are there any words of advice or areas where of focus that you want to emphasize in self-kindness as people are turning to self-kindness with regard to any, services or products or things, meditation, things that they like to do? What words of advice would you give to somebody?
So, meditation does work. It really does. What I found did not work was listening to voices that I didn't like. I tried to do meditation in the early days, and I'm a yoga teacher. I should be able to do this stuff. And I was finding all the time I try to crowbar meditation into my life, like I say, trying to get up at a ridiculous time in the morning and make it work for me, and it wasn't. That was kind of one area. And the other area, was listening to voices that I could listen to. So you might have to trail through a few YouTube videos and listen to a few before you go, oh, I like what that person's saying or how they say it. Because all these meditation teachers, they're all wanting the same thing. They just have a different way of saying it. And once you find the one that works for you, then it's really easy. But it takes a while to find the one that works for you. As I said, accent was important to me. I found there were certain accents, they just jarred slightly, and I couldn't get past the accent to listen to what the person was saying. So once I found someone I enjoyed their way of saying it, it was easy. Once I found routines that worked for me, again, if 5 o'clock in the morning is not your go-to time, then having meditation at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon was completely fine. And making routines that work for you and fit around your day and are special to you. Trying not to make a big deal out of anything. If you missed your meditation or if you missed doing something, it's okay. You can do that tomorrow. You can do it later. And setting up really simple self-care. It's really, really simple self-care. When did you last sit down just because you wanted to and have a cup of tea? When was the last time you sat down and just put a blanket around you and just sat there for a bit? We're so good at doing that, especially, mums and anybody who's caring for individuals. We're so good at caring for other people. We're so good at putting the blanket on someone else when they're cold or making sure they've got something to eat or, going to get someone's cup of tea for them. But when was the last time you did that for you? And so that was important. Just taking that 5 minutes for you, having the meditations that you could listen to that work for you, and placing your timeline of your day exclusively for you. Try lots of different things. There's so many resources out there, so many people saying do this, do that. Try not to do them all on the same day. Try one for a good week or so and then go, no, I don't like it, I'm going to do something different. Don't expect it all to be perfect once you've found this thing. I think I was always trying to find the answer for a very long time. As I say, the answer to the mystical question of how do I feel amazing? And the answer is actually do nothing. Do nothing is the answer. Because once you do nothing, it gives you the space to find that you don't actually need to do anything. You're okay the way you are.
Sure.
That was a massive thing as well for me.
Okay.
Do nothing.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Ruth, how can people get in contact with you?
So if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram on Roo_Betty. Or you can just visit my website, roobetty.com, and there's all the social media links on there, or email links if you want to just ask me a question. I can direct you to a person that may be able to help you, or I can offer a small piece of advice. I'm no expert, believe me. I am a self-educated kind of. I read a lot of the internet. I talk to lots of therapists along the way that I've spoken to, but they all resulted in pretty much the same advice, which was the meditation. So I can direct you to some people that I think are good at meditations that I like. But again, it's up to you. You might not like the same person I do, and that's okay. So, no offense taken. But yeah, the website, roobetty.com, that can help you. And it's got some links to some advice I've written from my point of view to help yourself, some self-help advice on there as well.
Okay.
And also some blog posts of when it's all gone horribly wrong, or what I've done to kind of pick myself up again. There is no such thing as perfection. So never strive for that. Never.
Okay. Well, we will include all of that in the show notes, and they have the resources that they can go to for advice, or you also have a line of products that you do to focus on self-kindness.
Got my t-shirts and sweatshirts that are just a constant reminder to talk kindly. I'm wearing one today actually. If you kind of look at that self and know that that's what that logo is doing, so you remind when you put it on. I built the sweatshirts around because when I was very young, I had a sweater that I would never take off, and I used to always wear. It was my go-to sweater to make myself feel amazing, and it was this bright pink sweater, and I think it just made me feel good. So, wearing something that makes you feel good is always a first step. We've got some yoga and gym bags, because going to the gym, going to yoga really, really does help. And again, don't stop at the first yoga experience. Don't stop at your first gym experience, especially if it didn't meet your expectations. There are lots of yoga teachers out there. There are lots of gyms. There are lots of fitness classes. There's lots of online stuff for free on your TV or on YouTube. Don't measure the whole of the fitness industry by your first video that you watched and didn't like. Go to another one and have a go and see what that one looks like. Because there is a teacher for everybody. I promise you, there is a teacher for everybody.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Ruth, it's been a pleasure to really understand self-kindness and really understand steps to go forward, and things that can inspire you with meditation and with your products, and really your focus on self-kindness. I mean, that's huge, and we sure appreciate all that you're doing with that.
As I say, there's the big things to come. It's just I can't do it all tomorrow, so I have to talk kindly. There are days when I have beat myself up about how little I have done, and then I go, no, it's just one of you. Kind of, it will happen when it happens, and that's where we're at. But I would love to do it all tomorrow. I would love to have everything just so, but I have to remind myself that I'm human, and it will take the time that it takes.
Absolutely.
So, I hope that everybody finds that moment when they find that realization. I really do. That's what my goal is, to help everybody find the realization that they are all they need to be.
Okay. Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Ruth.